The GOP candidates are spread out across the country today in the last hour push before the biggest day of this primary season yet. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz are fighting hard to stop Donald Trump in his tracks, but the polls indicate Trump might be unstoppable. A new national survey shows Trump with a gigantic lead, 49%, with Rubio trailing at 16%, and Ted Cruz came in third with 15%. As the battle royale nears, the attacks have grown increasingly personal between the frontrunner and the guys in second and third place.
He's always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me. He's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2". Have you seen his hands? They're like this. And you know what they say about men with small hands? You can't trust them.
I'm running against very dishonest people, all right? Little Marco Rubio, a total featherweight. He's not a lightweight. He's not cool. He sweats too much, and I don't want him negotiating for us.
He doesn't sweat because his pores are clogged from the spray tan that he uses. Donald is not going to make America great. He's going to make America orange.
This election is being played on an emotional level. Many elections come down to specific policies or party loyalty or economic events, but not this one. Trump has tapped into the emotion of a ticked-off American electorate. Rubio and Cruz late to the game trying to fight Trump with his own tactical assaults, but are they too late, KG?
Yeah, I mean, it's sounding like, you know, Beavis and Butthead back and forth, and I don't know what Marco is doing. Like, whoa, pull the ripcord on this, because number one, calling yourself Little Marco is not helping. Like, don't repeat the insult. And if you notice, like, his hands don't look that big either, so I wouldn't be saying and putting that attention. And by the way, for the record, I don't think that's an accurate indicator.
Oh, wow. Okay, you explain that to us.
Helpful information.
Juan, tell us a little bit
Look around the table.
You look at what's going on.
Hide your hands.
Now, Cruz and Rubio are both going after Donald Trump. I'm surprised to see Marco Rubio using some of the same tactics that Donald Trump has used effectively against them. Some say it's great, they like it. Others say, hey, this is our party here we're dealing with.
Boy, there's so much packed in there, Eric. The first thing to say is, I think from Rubio's perspective, one, he thought that this was beneath him, and he didn't want to go there, right? But then he also thought that the electorate might reject this, that the Republican electorate wasn't going to accept Trump. And the numbers you cited at the top today, I think it showed 49% now backing Trump. Or was it 46%?
49, yeah.
That's better than even what he did in Nevada when he got into the mid-40s with the results there. So it looks like he's actually gained momentum. So I think now Rubio and Cruz feel they've got to get in the ring with the champ, fight on his terms, but they look like challengers. And this kind of petty schoolyard bullying I was saying a moment ago, you know, I think it's very unattractive, not good for the party.
What do you think, Dana?
Well, I think that for a long time, the style that Trump was bringing to the race was exciting a lot of people, and nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but many people didn't criticize him for using or hurling insults because it was refreshing and it was fun to see somebody able to, like, punch. So then when the challengers, and they certainly are challengers, try to use the same tactics, and they get their crowds going, and the crowds are laughing and things. And, I mean, it's not my style, but I don't think that you can criticize them for actually trying it.
Now, Jess, is it working, or is it too little too late? No, I shouldn't say too little, because, frankly, he's bringing it. He's bringing the same tactics,
yeah,
but is it too late?
Some of those lines were pretty funny. I think it's easy to stop a man, but it's harder to stop a movement. And I think Trump right now is becoming a movement. You've seen him go from 20 to 30 to 40, now to 49%. And I'm all over the country. I'm in Missouri and Oregon and Arizona. Like Howard Dean, but people are excited about this guy, and they're very enthusiastic. And you have, quote-unquote, conservatives for years have said they want someone that's tough on the border, tough on the press, tax cutter, grows the party. Everything Donald does checks that box. But I just hope that these people mobilize against Hillary the way they're mobilizing against Donald Trump. And another thing, you know, you have Rubio getting down in the mud, and I'm not calling Donald Trump a pig, but there is a saying.
Yes,
is when you wrestle with a pig, two things happen.
You shouldn't do it.
You get dirty, and the pig likes it. And Trump's been jerking
Pig
these guys
likes it.
around the whole time. He's jerking them overboard, over on the Muslims, over on the border, and now he's jerking them to the schoolyard. I don't think it looks that great.
Can I throw, before we go to the next topic, can I just throw this around very quickly? The numbers, Super Tuesday's tomorrow. The numbers, well, I'll do this with you. Alabama, 50 delegates, Trump up by 23. Georgia, Trump up by 18. 76 delegates there. Oklahoma, 43, Trump by 12. Tennessee, 58 delegates, Trump by 18. Here's the point. The RNC between 2012 and now escalated the delegate push out. In other words, they wanted the front runner to get a lot more of the delegates. So some of the new rules instituted between 2012 and now favor a front runner. Is this
absolutely.
a law of unintended consequences?
It is, and I think that's why you see. But they favor him on both sides, actually. Now, if you get the momentum going, I think psychologically, at this point, we're at a pivot. Tomorrow, you said the biggest election day so far. But you know, it's the biggest election day, period, in this season.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, I think it's more than 1,000, but 500 plus
595
on the Republican side, right?
Yep.
And you look at the numbers you just cited, and you see that, in fact, Rubio's needs to start winning. Cruz needs to surpass expectations in the South, where the evangelical community is strongest. And I don't see how he gets enough delegates at this point to, going forward, challenge Donald Trump.
All right, well, let's talk about this. Today, Trump tried to clear up a racially charged controversy involving unsolicited support from former KKK leader David Duke. He disavowed the endorsement Trump did on Friday, but faced criticism for not repeating his remark again on a Sunday show yesterday. Here's how he explains why he didn't.
I'm sitting in a house in Florida with a very bad earpiece that they gave me, and you could hardly hear what he was saying. But what I heard was various groups, and I don't mind disavowing anybody, and I disavowed David Duke, and I disavowed him the day before at a major news conference. Now I go and I sit down again. I have a lousy earpiece that is provided by them, and frankly, he talked about groups. He also talked about groups, and I have no problem with disavowing groups, but I'd at least like to know who they are.
Okay, Jess, we'll bring it around this way.
I think the earpiece must have been made in China. It was a lousy earpiece, bad earpiece. A few things here, though. Hillary Clinton actively sought out the endorsement of Democratic KKK Senator Robert Byrd. Donald Trump didn't seek out any endorsement. He disavowed it. That's one. Also, Barack Obama sat in racist Reverend Wright's church pews for 20 years, never even disavowed it, and then all of a sudden Trump, I don't think he sat in David Duke's pews. Third thing, I remember when the new Black Panther Party endorsed Obama in 2008, but I don't remember Meet the Press saying, well, do you disavow this? You know, whenever it's a whack job racist Republican being endorsed or doing the endorsing, the media wants to smear them, but they bury it on the left.
Can I throw this in here also, Danny, weigh in on this? But CNN, they kept going after it. They kept going after it. The guy said, look, I disavowed it already. Can we move on?
You know what it is?
Did CNN hold anyone else to that
You know what? Struggling. This is CNN trying to be in the top spot. They're not going to get there. They're trying to make something out of nothing to like tag this along in the news cycle so there's more focus on them. It's very transparent. It's very obvious to me what they're doing.
Dana?
It's not working either.
Well, one thing I think that with this momentum or the movement comes an awesome responsibility and an opportunity for somebody like Donald Trump. So he disavowed David Duke before. One of the things that helped not eradicate, but to denounce the KKK was ridicule. And that really came from popular culture. And Donald Trump is in a perfect position now, if he chose, to further ridicule them and snuff out the hate. And he has an opportunity to do that. He will no doubt be asked this again, maybe not here, but other places. And let's not kid ourselves that in the general election, would this be an issue that the Democrats are going to push and push on? Yes, it might not be fair to what the points that you just made, but let's not kid ourselves. That is coming.
Final thought on this before we move on?
Senator Byrd was in the United States Senate and long ago stopped being involved with the KKK.
He was a wizard, right? Or was he a dragon?
No, he was a member.
He was a member.
Long ago.
This
is back in the 30s, and we're talking about something far further. And, this idea of the new Black Panther Party, my God, let me get the new Black Panther Party is intimidating, scaring people, setting houses on fire like the
they're
KKK.
intimidating people at the voting booth.
That is
Let's move on.
No, it's not. I think white people do that. They one's like the other. No, Jesse.
All right, let's move on. The latest poll out of Texas shows Ted Cruz is in the lead there, but will it be enough? Yesterday, he got very defensive when questioned about some of his campaign tactics by Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday.
In Iowa, the Cruz campaign sent out tweets saying Ben Carson was suspending his campaign. That was false. The campaign put out flyers accusing people of voting violations. That was false. Your then communications director posted a link this week accusing Rubio of disrespecting the Bible. That was false. What does it say about the culture of the campaign you're running?
Chris, every accusation you raised there is incorrect. I appreciate your reading the Donald Trump attack file on that.
Come on, sir.
Let me tell you, our campaign has been from the highest...
Wait a minute, sir.
Chris, let me answer. Please don't interrupt me.
You personally apologized to Ben Carson on a debate stage. You fired your communications director. Don't say this is an Oppo file on our part, sir.
Yeah, I think Chris Wallace was equally tough on everyone that day.
Chris Wallace is not an easy interview to do, and so Ted Cruz probably knew that he was going to have to face some of those questions. I think his answer probably wasn't that great, and Chris Wallace had a very good point on those 2 points in particular: public apologies to Carson, and then firing of the communications director were both acknowledgments that there were problems in the campaign that he had to deal with.
Did you see the end of that interview, by the way?
I did.
At the end of the interview,
Chris
Wallace says goodbye, Senator, and he sits there with this stone face like, you take a leap, Chris. I thought Chris was terrific on it. Didn't back down one step.
Yeah, I like it. I thought he was super fierce and on point. These are legitimate questions that need to be answered. He has every right to ask those questions. I mean, I think it's incumbent upon him to do so. If he didn't ask it, he wouldn't be doing his job. He handled himself well, and he didn't allow himself to be bullied. Good on you, Wallace.
What does that tell you about Ted Cruz when he has to say, hey, I don't want to answer that question? This is clearly Oppo research from Trump.
I think whether it's Ted Cruz or Donald Trump or Marco Rubio, when you're a Republican running for president and you're complaining about Fox News, not a good look, whoever you are.
Let's leave it right there. Hillary Clinton